What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this, I want to break down what's going on with NIO stock, what you should be watching for as time progresses. I'm also going to talk about some very important updates about how NIO is looking from a technical standpoint and how NIO may move as time goes on. Before I break anything down, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. This offer ends in just about uh, 11 days from now, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with NIO. NIO has a rising wedge, and like I said in my video from yesterday, we could see some temporary downside for NIO. Now, it might pop a little bit more depending on Berkshire Hathaway's earnings for Monday, and then drop after that to come down to fill this gap towards 7.8, or it might just come down to fill that gap for the short term. But despite what could be happening for the short term, I still believe that NIO has more upside for the more medium term. I'm going to break down exactly why that is based off a lot of different trends. So the first thing worth noting about NIO is we have a nice Wyckoff accumulation schematic right here, meaning that we're basically in a nice accumulation right now. And NIO is going to eventually make its way up towards this 8.6 area, and eventually, these higher areas up here towards this $9 area. When you look at the NIO daily charts, this thing looks like it has more upside potential as this thing is starting to break out and we're starting to see buyers stepping in. Now, one of the things I mentioned in my videos is that when we hit November, we're going to start to see NIO improve and the market improve. And that's nothing but what has happened so far. As soon as November came with Jerome Powell and the Fed announcing a lot of different things, we saw the market beginning to pump. And to add on to this, look at the current cycle within the market. We tend to see the market bottom at the end of October. And that's obviously what happened to SPY. If you look at SPY, you will see that this thing basically found its bottom on what was this, like near the very end of October 30th, I think it was, or the 29th. Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's the 27th is when we found our bottom because we had the weekend after that. But since then, it's been pumping all the way back up to 436 in a crazy, crazy fashion. So basically, okay, this did play out. The seasonality did play out. We tend to get a very big pump to start off the month. And then after that, we tend to see some sideways price action, a slight decline for like a week or two before the market continues even higher. So we might see the market pull back a bit after getting a very aggressive rally. And then we may just continue to remain bullish for the end of the month. So we're going to be looking for more upside anyways. So even if we do pull back a little bit because the market's due to do so, either SPY goes up to 438 then cools off, or it cools off here. It's going to find a higher low relative to before. And then this thing is going to start pumping very, very nicely right back up to these higher levels. And we're going to see it continue to push up for December. Now, with that happening, I also want to call out that NIO has a tendency of following SPY and the QQQ. If you look at NIO next to the QQQ and SPY, you will notice that NIO tends to pump just like SPY. They came down together in 2022, pumped together, came down together, pumped together. NIO was a little weak during this time. They were basically trading flat. They pumped together approaching August. They came down very similarly for the last few months, and now they're starting to come up together. NIO is following the market, and so far that's affecting the way it's moving. Look at NIO next to the QQQ. The QQQ was on an uptrend while NIO was a little weak early on during this year. And then they started to pump together and they've been coming down together. Now they're pumping together again. So there tends to be a lot of these similarities between, SPY, the QQQ, and NIO. Now, I think NIO is supposed to have earnings soon. I'm not seeing it on the calendar just yet. They might update this in case NIO announces earnings again. So we'll be waiting for that. And so far, when it comes to deliveries, we've gotten some pretty decent deliveries so far. I think the news just came out, a couple of days ago that NIO had a good amount of deliveries, meeting a lot of the expectations out there for it. This was good news for them. So with NIO doing this well for deliveries, I'm hoping that they continue over time. They did over 16,000 for October, which was not bad whatsoever for their standards. So what I believe is going to happen is we're going to get stronger deliveries as time goes on. We're going to see more and more growth from the company. And then as that continues, we're going to see the market's cycles take over NIO. I think that NIO is going to see some major upside for the next few months. So NIO has these big gaps to fill. Basically, you guys know how it basically shot up very hard and just shot right back down. And we left tons of gaps. So I think it's going to start filling a lot of them. I think that the market's algorithms are going to help pump this thing up. So for the short term, I could see NIO retracing. It could retrace a little bit to 7.8 because of the current market cycle and other factors like that. But for the medium term, I believe NIO is going to pump and eventually fill this gap up to $10. If it gets above this, $9 area, it's going to easily push up to 10.3. Then we have another gap up here around 11.4, another gap at 12.8, 13.2, not to mention 14.8. I think it's going to get a very nice bounce. I think that this thing is getting ready for some very beautiful price action. We have a nice double bottom like formation on the stock right here. You guys can see it formed its bottoms right here. And this looks bullish. It looks like it's going to bounce very, very soon. It just needs a little bit more time to give us confirmation, but I believe that there's upside coming to NIO because of SPY and etc. SPY pumped from 409 to 436, and NIO followed the trend as NIO has been bouncing this week. And I believe that it's going to continue like this. You could also add on that the QQQ, this was at 342. Now it's at 369. This might cool off a little bit more, but then we're going to see another monstrous bounce as time goes on. We're going to be anticipating even more upside no matter what. So I still think there's going to be more upside towards the end of the year. I still lean in that direction. I think that this is going to help NIO even more. So is NIO going to squeeze? The answer is, in my opinion, yes. But before that happens, could be a little bit more downside early on for the next week or two, some sideways price action before we continue to rally very, very hard. I think that for the next few months, NIO is going to be filling all these gaps and pushing back up to at least $16. I believe it's going to happen. I think that the current deliveries, earnings is going to play a big role, not to mention what we see from these big events. So watch for seasonality to take over and help NIO pump even more. And I think that this is going to be a very big factor to help the bulls even more. It's going to be an election year next year, right? The election year is coming. So we're going to see what's known as election year tape, meaning the market's going to likely get a strong end to the year. I think that's very likely. I've been saying that for a very long time. On top of that, I just want to mention that for the markets, don't forget that there are lots of puts expiring on SPY. So let me just show you SPY. We basically have millions of puts expiring every single week. You can see these high puts to call ratios. We had 1,000,000 puts expiring on Friday, which was yesterday. That's part of why SPY held up nicely. We have lots of high puts to call ratios. There are other weeks where we have 2.5 plus million puts, 2.6 million puts for December, 1,000,000 puts for another week in November. Millions and millions of puts are expiring. The majority of positions are, at least over the next 2 months, at least for SPY, are puts. And that tells me those market makers are not going to pay them out. They're going to be incentivized to give more upside. So there could be some downside for the short term, but for the medium term, approaching December and the end of the year, I expect there to be some nice upside. I think NIO is going to fill these gaps and start pushing up higher and continue to push going into 2024. All right, so I still hold my same view, and that's what I'm seeing for the markets. Thank you all so much for listening. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again, and peace out.